Are you wondering what to do if your rabbit has mastitis? Come, we will share our journey. What were the first signs that she had mastitis?
Well, we noticed something was wrong when she wasn't greeting us at the door. She wasn't eating. She was just kind of sitting in one spot, not acting like her normal self. So we took her out, and I could feel right away that she had a lump on her chest around one of her mammary glands, and it was hot and swollen.
What was the hardest part of the whole process?
I think trying to decide what to do. Did we want to spend money to take her to the vet? And how much did we want to spend? Or just like, do we just need to call her and not have her suffer? Not knowing what the prognosis would be, even if she were to get better. Like, would she be able to breed again? Would she be able to nurse again? That made it hard in knowing what to do. And we couldn't find that information, or at least clear answers on that.
How much did it cost?
The initial vet visit, I think, was like $70 or $75. That was the visit and an antibiotic and I don't know if it was a steroid or it was another. She had 2 shots, and then plus antibiotic to take home, and then we had another vet visit in there. That was like $30, and then eventually we brought her back in. She ended up with an abscess where the infection opened up, which I guess is what it was supposed to do. And then so they put her under anesthesia and cleaned out the infection, and then bandaged her up. That was over $200, but under $300. I don't remember exactly. So while that was a lot, it was still less than what we thought we were going to be paying with our initial vet visit. But then we had to keep bringing her back a few times to have the bandage change. Now that we've gone through it, that's something that we could probably do, changing her bandage every few days. But it was nice to have like the vet's eyes on it to know that for sure she was getting better. So yeah, every time we brought her for a bandage change, that was like $15. And then I think we had another round of antibiotic in there, which we didn't really need because we still had enough from the first bottle, even after completing the full dose. So in one sense, we've got a bottle of antibiotic on hand, but we didn't need to pay for that initially.
Why were we willing to pay that much for a rabbit?
For this rabbit, one, she's our best breeder, or best mama. She has the biggest litters. She's overall has had the fewest losses. And she's also the most friendly. She greets us at the door. She's never bit. Maybe she has if an arm was in the way, but like never been aggressive when she has babies. So that's why we were willing. And the vet was adamant that she'd be able to have babies again and raise them. So that made it worthwhile, we figured.
Would we do it again?
For everybody?
Or yeah. For what?
For everybody, yes.
Yeah. Or for any bunny, I guess. Would we pay this much money?
I don't know. It probably would depend on the doe.
There, okay.
And if she was one that was well loved. The other part with everybody, which I think I mentioned in another video, was like we'd just moved, we'd left friends and just had a lot of change. So losing a pet, because these rabbits are pets, the breeders are the kids' pets, that would have been another hard thing for them to go through.
When can you breed after a rabbit has had mastitis?
So once we had the final bandage change, she was healed. So what happened was that tissue died off after they cleaned it out. He did end up cleaning out a little more, if I recall right. Didn't put her under anesthesia, but just during one of the changes he scraped out a little more infection, and that area has scarred over, so she doesn't have that mammary gland anymore. She can't nurse in that spot. It's just a scarred area. But he said she was clear to breed again and have babies. we've tried breeding her. We don't think it's been successful.
Looks like everybody doesn't want to get married right now.
We think she's having a false pregnancy. She built a nest, but we don't know that. We are not confident that she's actually pregnant because we did not witness a successful breeding session. So she hasn't been compliant.
All right, what was the starting point of the whole process?
So we noticed she was sick. We're pretty sure she had mastitis. I think we started soaking her before we brought her to the vet. I tried doing like herbs and things to get her to eat. That didn't work. We did hot compresses, had her lay on a hot towel or a warm wet cloth. Then we did the vet and she had the initial injection. The antibiotic that they chose to use at that time was because she was still nursing babies, and there was probably a better option that would have potentially been a quicker recovery for her. But because she was nursing, that one couldn't be used. We did eventually remove the kits from her. We had one, the runt, that just didn't thrive and ended up actually dying. We don't know if there was something wrong with it. We were afraid that kit had gotten some infection, like maybe it was something that she could pass to the kits. That is possible. It's not true with every infection, but we didn't know. And we also just wanted to give her body rest, like so that her body could focus on healing and not producing milk to feed her kits. So we did eventually wean.
Mom,
What?
is it a snake or a worm?
I don't know. Let's go see. I can see it moving from there. That is a big worm.
It sounds like the big worms that someone was talking about. What's he doing?
He's trying to get into the mud, into the thick mud. So we pulled the kits from her to let her body focus on healing and not feeding her babies. That's something we probably could have told the vet, because then we could have gone to a stronger antibiotic, but we just didn't think of it at the time. And she was doing better. She was, if I remember right, she started eating pretty quickly after that initial, no, not after the injection. It was after we put her on oral antibiotic. Then she started eating. And we were still doing I was still giving her oats every day mixed with herbs and sunflower seeds, because she had lost a decent amount of weight. You could see it in her hips that she had thinned out a lot. So we pulled the kits, and then it was just, she had the procedure done, and then it was just waiting for her to heal. She was all bandaged up around her ribs, and they did it tight, so she looked super skinny. And I think it was towards the end, you could tell she'd had enough. She was pulling at the gauze and stuff, but I think that was pretty much the whole process.
For somebody who thinks that they have mastitis, what would you recommend or encourage them with?
Google is not always helpful. There was one YouTube where the gentleman, he had antibiotic on hand that he injected his doe with, but I don't know if that varies by state, what you're able to access to over the counter, or if you have a vet connection. But it's worth taking it to the vet if it's a good rabbit. For us, she's a good mama, and we would like to keep her and keep breeding with her. But if it's a rabbit that you're not loving or endeared to, then that's a tough call. And we are fortunate. The vet here was very inexpensive, and we had one that was knowledgeable. There aren't many vets, at least where we moved from, that were knowledgeable about rabbits, and they're considered an exotic pet. So it's hard to find somebody. One thing that kind of became clear to us was okay, she is our prized, our best breeder. So thinking ahead, we were very thankful that with the litter she had, even after all of the losses, we were able to keep 2 of her daughters, females. So since she is such a good breeder, hopefully that is something that is carried on through the 2 we saved. So in terms of your breeding program, if you have a mom that you really like and you want those genes to continue, plan ahead, because you don't know if the mom's going to get sick or injured, and then you would have to make a tough decision and not be able to carry on that gene line. In fact, later on we had to call another one of her babies. I think it was one of hers. Our cage collapsed in some form and it ended up with a broken back. And so we had to call that one. Just think ahead. Our Evie got a Christmas present of a toy for her bunny, Evie bunny. Where's he at? Here, let me see you. I don't know if you can even, we haven't really looked over. He's so big. You can't even tell. Her fur is all grown in. Mama. I was hoping we could see the scar, but her fur's already filled in. You good, Mama? Hey. These are her 2 daughters that we've saved. They're pretty colored. And they're just like her. They greet us at the door, waiting for scratches. And our son Ian will get to name one of them. Ian, what did you want to name your bunny? Nutcracker.
We'll see if that sticks, right?
Mm-hmm. We also talked about Sugar Plum Fairy. Sugar Plum. But, I mean, so their mom, Evie Bunny, super friendly, greets you at the door. And their father, Onyx, is the same way. He comes out in the mornings right away to be scratched. He sets his head right here and right here on the gate and waits to be scratched. We woke him up from a nap right now, but
what was the scariest part of Evie having the sickness?
Getting a shot.
Getting the shot. How did you feel when we thought we were gonna have to kill Evie Bunny?
Sad.
Sad. And do you remember what we did? Because we thought we were gonna have to kill her.
We made a hole.
Right. Yeah, we buried. We had a grave spot for her, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
But thankfully, we didn't have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So you were very brave.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm proud of you. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Leave us a comment below if you have questions. We would love to answer based on our experience. We are not vets and have no medical degree, so none of this is obviously medical advice or anything along those lines. But let us know, and we will explore that together.